Okay, so this is collecting evidence for Unit 308 software installation learning outcome 2. Okay, Chaz, if you'd like to take me through the process of installing a system, please.
So what you're going to want to do is make sure that you've got the appropriate compatibility. So you want to make sure you've got...
I'll just stop you there. You need to introduce what you're installing and run it as a PowerPoint.
Oh, right, okay.
Okay, run it as the PowerPoint. Yeah. Okay, off you go.
If that sends through. Right, so I'm going to be installing a Windows Server 2008. So first things first, you're going to want to make sure that you've got the appropriate software and hardware. Hardware that's capable of running whatever system that you're putting on. So it's important to make sure that you've got the correct planning and preparation in hand, as seen on the screen.
What does it say on the screen though, Chaz? Go back.
You just make sure that you've got the right amount of RAM, the sufficient hard drive space, typically just the requirements of the operating system in order to run on the machine.
Okay, on the screen I'm looking at, it's talking about clean install versus upgrade. What's the difference?
So you clean install if you have had issues with your previous operating system, etc. If you want to go for a complete reinstall of a new operating system and get rid of any old files, you can go for that. However, you've got the option of just doing the upgrade as well. So you'd keep all your personal files, and it's just the system files that are overwritten.
Okay, good.
So you've got to take into consideration whether you're installing 32 or 64-bit. Again, it's compatibility issues with specific software. If you've got a 64-bit processor, you can install 32 or 64-bit software, but ideally you'd go for the 64-bit.
Sorry, can we just go back? Did you say that you can put a 64-bit OS on a 32-bit?
No, you can put a 32 or a 64 on a 64-bit.
Okay, fine. Okay, good.
not that silly. So you're going to have to put in your Windows disk into the computer or server and boot it up, and then that's going to be your first screen. That's just going to say that it's commencing the file installation. Then it's going to go through the setup files wizard and the installation wizard straight after. That's starting up the Windows operating system. You can select your language and their time and currency format, keyboard input. So with your keyboard, that will determine whether you will have, for instance, the @ sign will be the quotation marks on button 2, or whether it will be just above the shift.
Okay, so at the moment you're sat there with United States, so what should you be doing?
I would be changing that to the UK.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you don't do it here, can you do it later?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, fine.
Of course. After you've selected all that, you can go on to the next, and that's the pre-config, and then you can just start installing the operating system. You're going to have to accept Microsoft's license terms as well. Don't forget about them. Make sure you read it thorough, as everyone does.
And if you don't accept them?
Sorry?
If you don't accept them?
If you don't accept them, you don't have the permission to proceed with the install.
Okay.
So you can choose from the upgrade or the fresh install, as it were. As previously said, you can upgrade from your current operating system, have all your personal files and folders still there, but just upgrade this system, or you can go for the clean install. Once you've selected your option, you're taken to the window where you're going to select your partition or which disk you're going to install it on. So here I've got a disk that's completely free. If you would have had a disk that has still got space on it, you would be requested to reformat it before you can continue, unless you've got allocated space. Other than that, you can make a new partition, install it from there. Select your drive or partition and you can continue with the install. And then it's just going to go through the actual system file setup. So you would see the copy in Windows files and then the expand in Windows files. Then it would go through the install. And then it's going to do the countdown. You can click to restart now or just wait the 7 seconds. Most people like to just click to restart now because we're impatient. And then it's just going to verify the install afterwards. So they'll repeat the last 2 steps as said in the paragraph. After that, you can just, it will automatically restart the computer, and you're going to be brought to a new screen where you're going to give your computer a name and make a new username for the computer.
Tell me about the computer name.
Yeah, when you're naming your computer, if you're going to be joining a domain, in which case we are, you're going to make sure that you've got the domain name there, or something that is apparent and specific to the network that you can identify your computer with. So on our network, for instance, we would have everything as Obsidian hyphen, and then whether it be Chaz or whoever, whatever user it is, just have to specify which computer we have there. Okay. Every computer name has got to be unique though, so it's important that you get that right. Again, with the username, just create a username and continue from there. So next is the password. Make sure that it is secure. Typically use numericals and alphanumerics as well. Don't just go for a bog standard plain text. And then the license key. Make sure that it's a valid license key. You won't be able to continue without it. On Windows Server 2008, you have a 28-day grace period or a 30-day grace period. But after that, if you don't have the license key, then you will not be able to access the system anymore.
Okay, now you've said Windows Server 2008. Is this an install of Server 2008?
No, this is for Windows 7.
Okay, so when I originally asked you what the installation was, you said Server 2008. So
yeah.
It is in fact 7, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's the Windows are from 7, but it's the same.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, do you see the point? You've shown me screens of Windows 7.
Yeah.
So really we should be looking at the Windows 7 install. This is an installation of Windows 7, is it not?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's focus on that rather than going off on a Windows Server 2008 scenario. So let's just look at this product key. Where do you get this from and why do you need it?
You get your product key from Microsoft themselves. You can purchase one online or go to a store and get it where you would have to, you would have to scratch off the packaging on the card and you'd have your license key from there.
Okay, and why do you need it?
You need it so that Microsoft can verify that your system's genuine and that you're not stealing, etc. from them.
Good, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's basically saying this is kosher, isn't it? That's really what it's saying. Good. Okay, move on. Oh, sorry, just going back, you mentioned 30 days. Now, you mentioned it to Server 2008. What's the relevance to 7? Is it the same or is it different?
It's the same for 7 as well.
Okay, so for the majority of OSs, you
up
can
until
use them.
2012 on Windows 8.
And then after that, you have to what?
Sorry?
For 12 and 8, what's the subtle difference then?
You don't have a grace period.
Yeah, good. Okay, fine.
It's a case of whilst you're installing, if you don't provide the product key, you can't go any further.
Good. Okay.
So from there, we just select the security settings.
Sorry, you moved a screen. Go back.
Yeah, sorry
That's
about
better.
that.
That's all right.
So security settings, most people would just go for the recommended settings, and that's just what Microsoft considers to be basic and okay for the system to run on. You can select to install the important updates only, and that is just primarily any compatibility updates that are absolutely required for the system to run.
Okay, so these updates, what are they generally? What kind of things might Microsoft push out in an update?
Just any patches for any bugs within the system that they haven't, prior released or that they've not quite got right.
You're absolutely right. I think it's quite amazing that we all accept that. Microsoft didn't get it quite right. Not to worry. I mean, if you think about it, we don't do that with anything else. If the car's not quite right, we won't go, never mind, we'll buy it anyhow. We'll wait for it to get it right. But anyhow, yeah. Good. Okay, right, next.
Yeah. And then your time and dates, make sure you select the correct time and date depending upon what part of the world you're operating from.
Okay, so have we not already done this? What did we set at the very beginning? Why is it asking for us to, in effect, confirm it?
I believe that this is to set up the time and date for the BIOS and everything like that, for it to be able to run effectively.
Okay. So where we set it up previously, did it mention time zone, or was it just?
It was the time and language zone.
Yeah. Okay.
So we know where we are. But then from here, it's just asking us to confirm that. This is that when we get onto the system, we will see what time it is, whereas prior, it was that the computer understood whereabouts we are.
Okay.
So once you set that, you can continue and click next again. And then selecting your type of network. It's important that you select the correct type of network for security reasons. So if you're at home, you're going to select your home network. If you're at work, it's going to be the work network. Just different type of connections are for specific reasons. If you're on your work network, there's a higher security for your LAN, and only specific things can happen, i.e. with regards to file sharing and discovery on the network as well.
Okay.
And then it's just going to finalize the settings, as you can see. It should only take about 30 to 60 seconds, and then it's going to prepare you with the desktop window. And then once you get to there, you know that Windows is installed, and you're ready to go, really.
Okay. Is there anything more after this? Did you do anything relating to your network card?
Yeah. If you are on a work network, you need to make sure that you configure the network card.
Okay, so can you...
I believe I've added the setting there.
Yeah, I can see it. Good. So can you explain to me in your own words, what does an IP address represent?
That is the... sorry, I'll get the words out now. That's the identification on the network itself for any other host to be able to identify what computer it is. That would then correspond with the physical address of the computer or the host, as it were. Okay,
so I'm just going to drill deeper in that. We always say that an IP address is split into two components, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, so what does the first component represent of an IP address?
In terms of,
as I say, when we set up an IP address, it represents two things as far as the host machine is concerned. So what are those two things that it represents? You've kind of said it, but I just want you to I want to clarify it. Oh,
Host.
so it does the host. I don't know what
You've-
that screen is.
Oh, I've clicked accidentally. Sorry about that.
Okay, so you've got the host, but what's the other bit before the host?
The network.
Okay, so the network. The network
Yeah.
what? Just take me further. When you
You know-
say the network, what do you actually mean?
My head's just gone blank.
All right, let me just recap, take you back to how I explained it when I taught you. Think about
Yeah.
streets and houses. Now tell me.
So in terms of the way it would locate the computer, it would look at whether it's a private or a public network. So the 192 quadrant says that it's a private network address. Then
Okay.
it would look at the 168 and decipher what route it's going to go down for the private network. And then further to that, you're looking at the .43 portion of the IP address, and that basically says what partition of the network we're on, so to speak. Because obviously, if that computer is configured on a 192.168.4.3, that wouldn't be able to speak to a computer on a separate network.
Right. Stop right there. You're going far too deep. You're still not answering the question, okay?
Mm-hmm.
When we were looking at streets and houses, how did I correspond it to the IP address? Can you remember?
Yeah, it was
What does the street represent?
the street represented the network
Okay.
in the subnet sort of thing.
The network. That's all we need. The network. That's all I'm after. No more techie.
Yeah.
All right. Don't go techie. All right. Because you're going too deep and you're kind of not getting it. Okay. Very
Okay.
simply, 192.168.43 represents the what?
The network.
Okay. The where, isn't it? Your
the
network
location.
is the where. Exactly. The location. The where. Where is the machine on the network? Okay. So therefore, what does the 102 represent?
The 102 would be the house on the street, if you like, the computer on the network.
Exactly. The what?
The
Yes?
host.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the what? So an IP address simply says where and what.
Yeah.
Yeah? Network ID, where, host ID, what. Okay. So tell me what the subnet mask does then, in corresponding to what we've just said. What does the what does the subnet mask do for the computer or the network?
The subnet tells it where to go for it. It splits it off into its own network. Set two networks can't crosstalk.
Okay, so stop there. So what does the subnet mask do to the IP address? Look at it. Tell me the network address of that IP address.
The 192.168.4.3
And the host address?
is the 102.
So which portions of the IP address have 255 underneath them? The network portion?
The network portions.
Okay, so the subnet mask simply does the division for the computer. Because if we just put that IP address in, would our computer know what we're talking about?
No.
So that's why you put the mask in. The mask is simply doing that division. The mask is simply saying anything with 255, or there are other numbers, but anything in this case with 255 is part of the network address. And anything with the 0 is the host ID. And that's it. As simple as that. No more complicated than that. It's a simple division. Okay? Okay. What's the default gateway all about?
Default gateway is specifically the router on the network. So the first point of contact for a computer to go to if it wants to find more information on whether it be getting out onto the internet or talking to another computer on the network.
Yeah.
That is on the basis that the the topology for the network requires a router. Had it be just like a ring network, it would be reliant upon the host file within the computer.
Right, slow down, stop. You're going too techie, Chaz, all right? Now, I understand you have knowledge, but don't confuse it. Your simple answer was correct. It's a router. That's it. Okay? So don't get too techie on this one, all right? So the router, so it's the exit point to either the internet or another network. End of. Okay. DNS. What's DNS?
The DNS is the domain name service, and that is what tells a computer where to look. So it would typically resolve a host name to an IP address.
Good.
And it's that we can all understand. No one wants to go onto the internet and find the IP, having to type in the IP address for the likes of Google or something like that.
Exactly. Simple as that. Good. Okay, fine. Ooh. Hey, I just moved it. Okay, that's fine. I'm going to stop the recording. I'm going to stop the presenting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you don't have to edit it.